Hi, I'm Rowan.
And I'm Calvin.
And you're watching episode 5 of season 3 of In the Zone.
In the Zone.
Today we're going to be discussing the Twilight Zone episode, A Game of Pool, and we're going to spoil the entire plot. So if you don't want it spoiled for you, you should probably check it out before you watch this. So we're in this pool place. I guess I call it a pool hall. I guess that's the term.
Pool hall.
There's this guy who's playing pool, and he makes this great shot. And the music is so good, and it fits so perfectly. It's really good music. And yeah, he is ranting. He has like this monologue. He's like, "Oh, I'm so great, but I'm the best there is right now. But people are always saying, oh, Fat's Brown." And there's this picture of this guy.
Fat Brown's dead.
Basically, what he says is that he's great, but he never gets the recognition he deserves because there was this other pool player who used to play at that same hall, who apparently was the best in the world, and people are like, oh, he was better. And what's so interesting is it's one of those things where it's like, there's no like video evidence to prove that he was ever good. It's about legend. So he's like, oh, I'm so angry because I probably am better than him, but it's like, they'll never know. They'll always just say he's better because they have no way to prove that they're wrong. His name's Jesse Cardiff, by the way.
Yeah.
And he's like, I would give anything to play one game with him.
Anything. And then it cuts to like heaven. It's weird. It's so weird. This is like when the weird thing starts. Like, he's like in a cloud.
Fats Brown is in a cloud.
Fats Brown, and it's like a pool. He's just sitting there.
He's just playing pool.
And there's the intercom.
Yeah, there's an intercom, and it says, Fats Brown to the first floor main office. Fats Brown to the pool hall, Randolph's pool hall. And so he has to go down, and then he appears in the pool hall, and he's like, "You asked for me?" And then we cut to Rod, and Rod is at his coolest ever. He's like he's leaning on a pool cue with his cigarette,
and then he goes like
stunning.
dun, and it rushes into things so fast.
It's great how it just gets started right away.
He's like, and it's like, "That's Brown? Is that you?" And it's like, dun dun. And
so then we fade to black, and we come up, and Fats Brown is like, "You called for me?" And the guy's like, "But you're dead." And he's like, "Well, if people still talk about you, you're not really dead."
And then Fats kind of tries to get into play.
He's like, "Well, Jesse, now that you've seen me, you know deep down, you know that you're a second-rate player, and it's all just big talk.
And it's
when the heat's on, you fold." But then Jesse is like, "Well, no, because the legend of your greatness is probably just inflated with time. It's like a tall tale, and there's no way to prove that it ever happened."
And they basically just try to roast each other.
Yeah, and so Fat is like, or Fats, his nickname's Fats because he's fat. It's really cool. So he proposes the stakes to the game. He's like, if you win, then you live and you're the greatest ever. Yeah. If you lose, then you die. And then Jesse is like, he hesitates, and Fats is like, oh, now we see what you really think of your abilities. Now you're scared. Oh, you think you're not good enough. And Jesse is like, you know what, I'm the best. And then he talks about how much he's invested in the pool. He's like, you know how many times I slipped on that table? I poured my soul into this game. I'm the best, and I know you know I want it bad. And then, so Jesse accepts. And you would think that's unrealistic, but it really is realistic when you know his character, because he wants to just have the knowledge that he's the best so bad.
Right.
And he's so confident. And oh wow, the acting in this episode is amazing.
He's like,
especially Jack Klugman, of course, who plays Jesse Cardiff. Oh, the guy Jesse Cardiff. Do you recognize from the first season?
He looks so familiar. I can't name it.
I'll give you a hint. You want a hint?
Yeah.
There's
something with the jukebox. Like, no. First season, you said.
Alright, can I just tell you?
Yeah.
It was a passage for a trumpet. He played Joey Crown, the guy who played the trumpet, and then he died, but then he wasn't dead.
Oh, yeah! And he met, like, this...
Abe Lincoln.
Yeah.
So then Fats is like, I have my custom cue. It was made just for me. So then they start playing. And there's, like, a second where he flips the coin to, like, see who goes first. And he's like, you can change your mind if you want to. And then he doesn't. It's so good.
But the thing is, it doesn't look like a flip. You just go, like...
It goes, pa, ha. It's so cool and fast.
It's just not a flip.
I don't know. Yeah, it is. He goes, bing, wah, oh. I am so bad at flipping coins. I mean, it never comes up in my everyday life, so there's no reason why I would be any good at it. So then, they fade to black and they fade up. And so, there's this thing where it's like, they're all in the triangle, you have to break it, And so they say whoever breaks is at a disadvantage and Fats is going first. Because then they're all scattered for you. Because you're not going to really get a ball. You'll have to be lucky to get something into a hole when you break it. Yeah. So it's just you are at a disadvantage. But then Fats does a thing where he just barely hits it. And then Jesse's like, "Whoa, that's pretty good." But then he does it again. Ah, how you like that, fat boy? So Fats misses an important shot. And then Jesse's doing well. Yeah. And then Fats is being really condescending to him, and Jesse is like, "You're just a bully. You're like all these people I used to know who were really good at stuff, and they would just make me feel small." And he talks about how we got in a pool, where he's like I wanted to find something I was good at.
When I was 16, I walked into the bar. I challenged this guy to play. I beat him on my first time.
It's a cool story about how he's been bullied, and so he tries so hard to be good at this so that he can just have one thing to show the bullies, sort of, even though that the bullies aren't even in his life anymore, but just in a symbolic way, so that he goes, "Oh, I can be good at something too." Fats is talking about the science of pool. It's it's a lot of geometry and there's forces and angles. Fats messes up again, which I think is a little unrealistic how many times he messes up.
But I think he's doing it on purpose sometimes.
Maybe sometimes he is doing it on purpose, because as we find out,
kind of the point.
Yeah. Maybe he's also really nervous because he sees that this guy is really good, and there's a part of him that wants to remain the best, even though, as we'll learn later, there are some problems with that.
They just kind of keep playing, and I feel like it gets a little bit boring.
It's a little bit boring.
That's what they keep showing it.
It's just a montage. So there's a montage of Jesse doing well, and then later they start a new game, but then Fats is doing well, and then it shows Jesse, and Jesse is so scared. He's like, he's just cringing every time he makes one, because he realizes, I could die, So then there's another montage, and by the time the second montage, it's sort of padding, which is a little bit annoying, but
whatever.
But so then Jesse is just barely winning, and so this is the very end. It's 297 to 296 or something. So there are 4 balls on the table. It's so suspenseful.
It's intense. It's
So who are you rooting for?
I honestly don't know. I just kind of wanted to see what happened.
Right, yeah.
I wasn't thinking go.
Yeah.
I'm just I want to see what happens. I'm intrigued.
I personally was always rooting for Jesse. Because he just spends so much time at this that it would be it would be really sad if he didn't get it. That would be devastating. And he would also die. I think he's just a really likable character. And Fats is, in a way,
I feel
he's
like
a
Fats
complex man.
is a little more likable. I don't know why.
Because he's fat and jolly. And sweaty.
No, he's less I don't know.
He's less intense. He'd be more fun to spend time with.
Yeah. There
are 4 balls on the table. Jesse needs to get 1 in to win. And then Fats needs to get 4. So, it's bad expository dialogue, because when he's saying this, obviously they would know. But I mean, it's the best they could, it's bad, but it's the best they can do to let us know. Because it's very important that we understand what's going on to really understand the stakes of this moment. So, Jesse misses. So then Fats is okay, he gets 1, he gets 2, he gets 3, and then he misses the 4th. And then Fats is tries to get in his head, but also I think he actually believes this. He says, there's more to life than pool. And he's like, I was the best, but I am the best. But I still had time to live, too. And he's like, I sort of feel bad for you in a way that you're just spending all this time for something so pointless as pool.
Yeah.
Because it's pointless. It's interesting, this whole thing about anyone in the world could be the best at something if they wanted to. But they just have to want it hard enough to work hard enough. That's what's so interesting. It's you could be the best at whatever, but you have to put all this time in and be willing to make the sacrifices. Fats never made those sacrifices. That's why, as we'll find out in the end, he wasn't the best. He wasn't quite the best. Because Jesse really made those sacrifices, and he really wanted it, so that passion really drove him to just only care about pool and not care about other stuff.
Right.
But even so, it's well, who is the best in general at life? Because you can be the best at pool, or you can be the second best at pool, and still have all this other great stuff going on. It's really interesting. It reminds me a lot about Wilt Chamberlain and Bill Russell. Alright, doesn't matter. But anyways, Fats is trying to distract Jesse to make him miss. He's doing these really low things, making a noise and stuff to try to distract him. It's okay, dude,
at this part,
are you? I would get so mad.
I know.
If he's making noise and going, what? While you're trying to do it, it's insane. And also for someone who's supposed to be the best in the world, it's so immature. And
that's what I know.
I guess he's just going low because he's really scared. Yeah. I think he's so scared that he's going to his crown's gonna get dismantled. So that makes Jesse miss. Fats misses, which I think is sort of realistic because he would have been really nervous.
I don't know.
And maybe also he is trying to lose, as we'll talk about later. And it sets him up for this perfect shot, and Jesse is like, whoa.
I'm gonna win.
Yeah, and this is when he gets sweaty.
Sweat.
That is like maybe the sweatiest person we've ever seen. It's like he's just sitting there. It's like sweat. It's like wow, like it is unrealistic sweat. Like no one sweats like in like 300 tiny dots of
like
sweat.
If you look here on our sweat cam, we'll put a sweat cam with a picture.
Sweat cam.
Look at our sweat cam.
He's like, the reason I had high stakes with you, like life or death, is because you're a high stakes player. For you, it couldn't be a nice, friendly game. This is more than just a game for you, so it had to be life and death, because that's what it is to you.
Yeah.
So then, the writing in this episode is incredible. It's just so good. Fat says, if you shoot the ball, you might get more than you bargained for. And Jesse's like, oh, you're just trying to get in my head.
Jesse's all like, you're trying to get in my head. Just stop. Just let me take this shot.
And then Fat's like, sorry, I was required to say that. And also, this is so suspenseful. Jesse!
You think Jesse misses, but
he makes it.
Like he makes
and
it. Like you think it's like stressful, like where he screws up somehow. He's like, ugh.
But then he makes it, and it feels so good. And he like gets that ball.
He's like,
I'm
the best.
Amazing. And Fats is like, thanks. And Jesse's like, what? Oh, because you know what? This might be a thing where Fats is trying to make him feel bad by being like, I don't even care. But it turns out that he actually is thankful. Then Fats disappears.
He's like, where'd you go? Fats! And then he takes down this picture from like...
And he like sort of throws it, and there's a glass break. Because like the frame breaks. So then Jesse celebrates, I'm the best. But then later, he's in heaven, and then it's like...
And it's like, what? Wait, it's like you gotta think, what happened? How did he get there? Did he just like die all of a sudden?
We'll talk about that. But then they're like, Mr. What's his name? Mr. Cardiff, go to Sandusky, Ohio, home of Cedar Point. Cedar Point. Go ride a coaster, Cedar Point. So to the toaster. By the way, we're sponsored by Cedar Point. I don't know if you knew. Definitely. It's a big deal. So glad we got this deal with Cedar Point. So if you enter the code in the zone, you get 50% off tickets.
Totally.
Yeah, do it. Don't. So then he's like, you gotta go down and play this pool game. He was like, Alright, and so that's the end of the episode. Oh, and also Rod Serling says in his closing monologue that now Jesse has to keep proving that he's the best, whereas Fats is now living carefree. So I think this is a very good ending, very interesting ending about how...
It makes you really think.
Yeah, how about the problem with being the best is that,
all the sacrifices
now you have to...
involved with being the best. You have to prove to everyone that you're the best. There's going to be someone else that comes along, it'll repeat, and then...
Alright, so about the time frame of this. I think he died later. What happened was, because in the monologue at the end, Rod Serling says, after the funeral, he found out, and I don't think he was actually, because when he is in heaven, he's the same age as he was. I don't think he, like, just died, like, right after he, like, left and then got killed or something. But what happened was he died, like, maybe he was old, but then, basically, in heaven, they put you there, like, in your prime, you know? That would make sense, so that you're the very best. Because then it's, like, because otherwise it's, like, if you're playing Fats Brown when he's, like, super old, then he would probably win.
Fats Brown said he died, like, young.
He could have, but maybe not.
We don't know. I think it was alright. I mean, there were some things where it was pretty good, but they were, like, it's just the padding of when they were playing.
It's true. It is a bit of a problem.
It was a little bit predictable, that's what I was saying.
Really?
Like, I thought, because I thought that Jesse was just gonna lose, but then he won.
So it wasn't predictable because he didn't lose.
Well, no.
I think this episode is amazing. I think the writing, the dialogue is so good. It's so good. Oof. It makes you. This episode really makes you think about cool stuff. I love the way it unfolded. I mean, they could have had Fats win or something. That wouldn't have been good. They could have had Jesse win, and then it just ends there. That would have been good. But then they have Jesse win.
A lot of possibilities.
Then they have an interesting twist at the end. Jack Klugman here is amazing. Like, everything he does is right. But yeah, the padding is a bit of a problem. It's not a huge problem. There's not a ton of padding, but there is padding.
Yeah.
For sure.
9 out of 10. I reconsidered. It's 9 out of 10.
You're like, this episode, it's alright. It's good, but it isn't great. 9!
Yeah. I reconsidered it.
This is Calvin.
At least it's not 9 and a half.
That's, okay. Yeah, that would just be crazy. I have a rating for this episode. I'm gonna give it a 9.5. Rating split. Rating split. How dare you? So check us out next week for our episode on The Mirror. We'll see you then.